Fisherfield 6. With two of the most remote Munros in Scotland, it can be considered one of the most difficult routes. With a 44km round trip and some 2,600 metres of ascent, it's suggested to be taken in over a few days, and that's exactly what we would do. So myself and Harry began to make the long trip north. As we parked up in the lay-by, sunset was fast approaching. We quickly sorted what kit we would need, and then we set off on the long walk into Shenavall Bothy. The sun was setting as we neared the Bothy, but there was still plenty of light left to see the incredible giants that surrounded us. Shenavall is one of the most popular Bothys, considered the flagship of the Mountain Bothy Association, so we were utterly delighted to have the place to ourselves, until we started hearing scary noises in the night. But we got the fire on, lit some candles, and settled ourselves in. So what have we got for dinner tonight, Harry?
Now you're asking. Pindi chana aloo. Come on.
Everyone's favourite.
Main ingredient, water.
I spilled my shandy or pandy aloo all over my pants.
Oh, disaster.
Looks like I'm shandy.
Challenge yourself.
Yeah. Shandy.
It's definitely going to be a beach. Go in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Good morning, Harry.
Morning, Scott. How are you?
I'm very well. How did you sleep? Did you sleep?
I don't think I did. I was scared of the goose creature.
The goose creature kept us up all night. Excited for the day?
Yeah, really excited to get straight up that. Come, let me get in. Alright, Scott wanted to do their day, so it must be bad.
The day starts with a substantial river crossing before the ground rises steeply up to the first peak. The only thing more worrying than the ascent were the noises that were coming out of Harry. Just beyond the river is a large marsh that we have to cross, and Harry's efforts in keeping his feet dry, we're safe to say, were wasted.
Not bad, trousers wet.
suggested route for the round takes you first along the glen to the east before approaching the ridge on easier angled slopes. We opted to ignore this suggestion, but after about 2 hours we realised we had messed up and we found ourselves in increasingly sticky situations.
So what's just happened here, Harry?
We just sort of soloed for our lives. Summer boots. Yeah, character. Pretty fucking pumped now actually. I've been tapping into some...
We're on the go 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're only at 700 metres. And we've just been rinsed by an absolute epic.
After that grade 2 near death scramble and then getting blown apart by 50-mile-an-hour winds, you having fun?
I live for this shit.
On top of the second peak, the wind really had picked up by now and we could still see the enormity of the rest of the route, as well as the amount of snow and ice on the peaks ahead. So we decided at this point that we weren't going to do anything else sketchy today and that we would turn back and head for the Bothy. And that's probably what we should have done. Oh, so here we are, Harry. We just survived yet another death trip. Grade 4 soloing. Between an error of judgment on my part, as well as the willingness to make the most of the trip, we'd pressed on. There was now no chance of turning back, as our last safe exit from the ridge was now back down a slope that was sheet ice that we'd barely made up. With the winds picking us up as we topped out on the summit ridge, we were very grateful to have made it back down into the lee of the mountain. We weren't out of the woods yet, as we still weren't even halfway, so we had to push on and make our way to the next feature that was known as the tennis courts.
On top of the tennis courts then, Harry.
Tennis court?
You surprised to be here after all we've been through?
I'm surprised to be alive.
Yeah.
No, loving it. Loving it. Bothy's warming up. Use Torridon and shellac. It doesn't get better. It does not get better.
We were now at the halfway point. We enjoyed the breathtaking views, but we'd been on the go for 8 hours now, and still had 2 more Munros to go, as well as some tricky snow sections to negotiate. We could see the weather deteriorating on the horizon, but thankfully we were now on easier ground, and although with tired legs, we covered the ground quickly, and then we finally made it to that last summit. Now all that was left was for the long walk out. Despite being guided by moonlight across the marsh, Harry still managed to trip into every puddle that we saw. We made it back to the Bothy 13 hours after we'd set off, and thankfully it was empty once again. So yesterday we pushed ahead going out into the hills because the forecast for today was 30% chance cloud-free Munros with some wind. Yesterday it was 60% chance cloud-free, so we went with it, pushed ahead, and we wake up to this. This is what 30% chance cloud-free Munros looks like. Now that you survived the night, Harry, can you tell us how yesterday went?
Oh, it was alright.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's what we do, walking.
How much walking was there yesterday?
50% of the day was walking. 50% was survival. Yeah.
Yeah, so can you tell us what happened on the third Munro?
Second Munro.
Oh, it was the third peak, second Munro.
Well, we both agreed not to do any sketchy stuff, having surveyed the slope.
After surviving the icy catwalk.
We went up a water ice slope in summer boots. Oh. Then we were nearly at the summit on a fucking well-consolidated snow patch.
With 60-mile-an-hour gusts
60
trying to
mile
blow
an
us
hour
off the
gusts
mountain.
trying to pick us up. I was a few feet away and then, yeah. I was just fucking clinging onto my ice axe for dear life and frogging on a fucking pebble. Oh. Yeah. Good though. Character building.
Yeah, very character building.
And then after that the wind tried to pick us up the whole way down. And then rockfall on other bits. And
Up some scree slope.
sketchy catwalks where you would die, but you've got to, if you jumped off far enough you might live.
And then we swam back to the Bothy.
Swam back through that really not boggy looking bog. Yeah.
And then, tell me Harry, yesterday, why did we push on? Because today's forecast was not as good as yesterday's. But yet somehow, what have we woken up to?
Oh, well this is 30% cloud free Munros.
Yeah.
And
rain, persistent rain for times.
Yeah, persistent rain.
With cloud base down to 400 metres, they said.
I'm not complaining. Get to enjoy it more in retrospect.
Yeah.
Wow. Should we do another one?
Yeah. Tomorrow maybe. We spent the rest of the morning drying our kit and enjoying the fantastic weather while taking in the scenery that surrounded us. Unfortunately, we eventually had to leave, so we packed up and set out on the return leg, frequently pausing to admire the route that we had just undertaken. It had been a superb excursion, and on the walk out our minds soon turned to food and the fantastic meaty feast that Harry was to prepare for us back at the van. Oh yeah. Got the girth.
Oh.
Oh.
Not eating it on camera.
Whoa.
Oh.